The Forbidden Zone. Captain Elena Vasquez pressed her palm against the viewport, watching the stars shift as her ship dropped out of hyperspace. 20 years of deep space exploration had taught her to read the void like others read books, but this sector was different. The silence here felt heavy, oppressive, like the galaxy itself was holding its breath. "Captain, we're receiving distress signals," called out Lieutenant Torres from the communications station. "Multiple frequencies, all alien origin. Some are weeks old." Elena turned from the viewport, her weathered face grim. At 35, she had seen more of the galaxy than most humans ever would. The scars on her left cheek told stories of first contact missions gone wrong, and her steel-gray eyes had witnessed the birth and death of civilizations. But nothing had prepared her for this assignment. "Put them through the translator, filtered for coherence," she ordered, settling into her captain's chair. The bridge of the exploration vessel Horizon hummed with quiet efficiency around her. The first message crackled through the speakers, the universal translator struggling with an alien dialect. "Day 15 since crossing the border, ship systems failing, crew reporting nightmares, visions of shadow creatures. Request immediate evacuation from human space." A second voice followed, higher-pitched, more desperate. "This is trading vessel Korthak. We've lost contact with our escort ships. Something is hunting us in the dark. Humans are not what they seem. Stay away from Earth." Elena felt her blood chill. Dr. Marcus Chen, her chief science officer, looked up from his console with confusion written across his angular features. "Captain, according to our star charts, there are no human colonies in this sector. Earth is 300 light-years from here." "Then why do they call this human space?" Elena murmured. More to herself than anyone else. The third message was barely a whisper, filled with static and terror. "They're not ships. They're not machines. God help us, they're alive. The humans, they don't know what shares their world. We should never have come here." Elena stood abruptly. "Torres, scan for any vessels in the area. Chen, I want a full analysis of these messages. When were they sent, from where, and by whom?" "Aye, Captain," both officers responded. As her crew worked, Elena paced the bridge. The Galactic Trade Council had briefed her on this mission with unusual secrecy. For 2 centuries, alien species had avoided a massive sphere of space around Earth and its growing colonies. Ships that entered this zone simply vanished. No wreckage, no survivors, no explanations. The few vessels that escaped came back with crews driven to madness, speaking of shadows that moved between stars and voices that called from the void. The human government claimed ignorance. Earth's military insisted they had no advanced defense systems in deep space. Yet the invisible boundary remained inviolate, and the galaxy's most powerful civilizations had learned to respect it. "Captain!" Torres called out excitedly. "I'm picking up a vessel bearing 27 Mark IV. It's adrift. Appears to be a Zilani cargo hauler." Elena's heart raced. The Zilani were known as some of the galaxy's best traders, cautious and methodical. If they were here, something had gone very wrong. "Take us in. Full tactical alert. I want shields up and weapons ready," she commanded. "Chen, prepare a boarding party." The Horizon moved through space with predatory grace, its sleek hull reflecting distant starlight. As they approached the alien vessel, Elena could see the damage. Massive tears in the hull looked almost organic, as if something had clawed its way inside. The ship's running lights flickered weakly. A dying heartbeat. "Life signs?" Elena asked. "Minimal," Chen reported. 1, maybe 2 survivors. The rest—" He paused, checking his readings again. "The rest don't register as alive or dead. It's like they're caught between states." Elena felt a chill run down her spine. "Suit up, people. We're going aboard." The boarding party consisted of Elena, Dr. Chen, and 2 security officers armed with energy weapons. They crossed the void in their shuttle, docking with the Zilani vessel through an airlock that had been torn open from the inside. The moment Elena stepped aboard, she knew something was fundamentally wrong. The air tasted of copper and ozone, and the walls seemed to pulse with a rhythm that matched her heartbeat. Emergency lighting cast everything in a hellish red glow, and the silence was broken only by their breathing apparatus. "Readings are off the charts," Chen whispered, consulting his scanner. "Electromagnetic fields, gravitational anomalies, and something else. Something I can't identify." They moved through the ship's corridors, following a trail of black substance that might have been blood or something far worse. Bodies lay scattered throughout the vessel, but as Chen had reported, they weren't quite dead. Their eyes followed the boarding party, and their mouths moved soundlessly, as if trying to warn them of some terrible fate. "Captain," called Security Officer Davis, his voice tight with fear, "you need to see this." They gathered around him in what had been the ship's main cargo bay. The walls were covered with claw marks and strange symbols that seemed to shift when you looked directly at them. In the center of the room stood a single Zalani, swaying slightly, its large eyes fixed on something none of them could see. Elena approached cautiously. "Are you injured? Can you understand me?" The alien turned its head with mechanical precision, and Elena gasped. Its eyes were completely black, like looking into deep space, and when it spoke, the voice seemed to come from everywhere at once. "You shouldn't be here, human. Your kind carries the mark. They know you're coming." "Who knows? What mark?" Elena pressed, fighting every instinct that told her to run. "The Guardians, the Shadow Walkers, the things that chose your world as their nest." The Zalani's voice cracked, and black tears ran down its face. "We came to study you, to understand why the galaxy fears your space. We thought humans were hiding advanced weapons, secret fleets. We were wrong." Chen stepped forward, his scientific curiosity overriding his fear. "What did you discover?" "Humans are not the guardians of this space," the alien whispered. "You are the protected. For millennia, things older than starlight have made Earth their home. They sleep in your oceans, walk among your cities, dream in your children's minds. And they love you with a love that burns stars." Elena felt the world shift around her. "That's impossible. We would know." "Would you?" The Zalani laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "Do you notice the air you breathe, the gravity that holds you down? They are so woven into your existence that you cannot tell where humanity ends and they begin. And when other species come too close to their beloved humans," the alien gestured to the claw marks on the walls, "they protect what they love." Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the ship. Chen's scanner was screaming warnings, and the temperature dropped 20 degrees in seconds. "Captain," Torres's voice crackled through their comm units, "we're detecting massive movement in the space around us. Sensor ghosts, gravitational distortions. It's like the void itself is coming alive." Elena looked at the Zalani survivor, who was smiling now with genuine warmth. "They know you're here, Captain. Your guardians. They're coming to bring you home." The lights went out, plunging them into absolute darkness. But in that darkness, Elena could swear she heard something impossible. Voices she recognized, speaking in languages that predated human civilization. Her grandmother's lullabies mixed with sounds that might have been whale songs, if whales could sing across dimensions. "What are they?" she whispered. "The first children of this galaxy," the Zalani replied, its voice now filled with something like peace. "They were old when your sun was dust. They watched worlds die, civilizations crumble, species fade into memory, until they found Earth, until they found humans. You gave them something they thought they'd lost forever." "What?" "Hope." The darkness around them began to move, flowing like liquid shadow. Elena felt presences all around her, vast intelligences that regarded her with curiosity and something deeper than love. In her mind, she heard whispers of welcome, ancient voices saying her name with pronunciation that made her feel like she was home after a journey she didn't remember taking. Dr. Chen grabbed her arm. "Captain, we need to leave, now." But Elena found she didn't want to leave. For the first time in her life, she felt completely safe. The shadows weren't threatening, they were protective like a parent's embrace. She understood now why no alien species could enter human space, not because humans were dangerous, but because something infinitely more powerful had claimed them as family. They've been with us all along, she breathed. In our dreams, our myths, our darkest fears and brightest hopes, humanity's guardian angels, hidden in plain sight. The Zelani nodded. And now that you know, Captain Elena Vasquez of Earth, what will you do with this knowledge? Elena looked around at the living darkness, at the ancient beings who had silently shepherded humanity through its first stumbling steps into the galaxy. She thought of Earth, of the billions of people who lived their lives never knowing they were protected by entities that could reshape reality with a thought. I'm going home, she said firmly, and I'm going to find out just how deep this partnership goes. As if responding to her words, the shadows began to retreat. Light returned to the ship, and the oppressive atmosphere lifted. The Zelani survivor was unconscious now, breathing normally for the first time since they'd found him. Captain, Chen said quietly, the implications of this are staggering. If these entities have been guiding human development, then every step we've taken into space, every advancement we've made, has been part of a larger plan, Elena finished. We're not just explorers, Marcus. We're ambassadors for something far greater than ourselves. The boarding party made their way back to the horizon in thoughtful silence. As they approached Earth's outer colonies, Elena felt the presences withdraw, fading back into the cosmic background like stars at dawn. But she knew they were still there, watching, waiting, protecting. Commander Sarah Brooks met them at the docking bay, her military bearing rigid with concern. Captain Vasquez, we've been monitoring your communications. Are the reports accurate? Elena looked at the commander, a woman she'd known for years, and wondered if she too carried the mark the Zelani had spoken of. Did all humans bear some invisible sign that marked them as protected? Were they all children of ancient guardians who moved between dimensions? More than accurate, Commander. We need to convene an emergency session with Earth Command. What I've discovered changes everything we thought we knew about humanity's place in the galaxy. As the horizon settled into dock, Elena watched through the viewport as normal life continued around them. Ships coming and going, people laughing and working and living their lives. None of them knew that cosmic entities older than their solar system watched over them with love that transcended mortal understanding. But Elena knew, and that knowledge sat on her shoulders like a mantle of starlight, heavy with responsibility and bright with possibility. The galaxy feared human space because it was protected by forces beyond their comprehension. The question now was whether humanity was ready to learn the truth about their silent guardians. In the depths of space around them, shadows stirred and ancient minds turned their attention toward Earth, waiting to see what their beloved humans would do with the knowledge they'd been given. The galaxy was about to change, and at the center of that change stood humanity, protected and cherished by beings who had chosen them as the hope for the universe's future. Elena smiled as she prepared her report. The galaxy thought humans were dangerous because no other species could enter their space and survive. Soon, they would learn the truth. Humans weren't the predators in this cosmic equation. They were the treasured children of something far more powerful than anyone had ever imagined. The Ancient Pact. 3 months after her encounter with the Zelani survivor, Captain Elena Vasquez stood in the most secure briefing room on Earth Station Alpha, surrounded by the highest-ranking officials in human space. The weight of her discovery pressed down on her like the gravity of a dying star, but she forced herself to remain calm as she delivered her report to the assembled leaders. The evidence is undeniable, she said, her voice steady despite the magnitude of what she was revealing. Humanity has never been alone. We've been protected by entities that predate our solar system by millions of years. Admiral Rebecca Harrison, head of Earth Defense Command, leaned forward in her chair. Her weathered face bore the scars of countless battles, but Elena could see something new in her eyes now. Uncertainty. Captain, what you're suggesting goes against everything we understand about human expansion into space. We've built our own defenses, established our own colonies. Have we? Elena challenged gently. Or have we been guided to do exactly what our guardians wanted us to do? Dr. Chen, who had accompanied her to the briefing, activated a holographic display showing their sensor readings from the Zalani ship. The electromagnetic signatures we detected don't match any known technology. They're not artificial constructs. They're biological, or something beyond biology as we understand it. General Marcus Stone, the head of colonial security, stood and began pacing. This is speculation based on the ravings of a traumatized alien survivor. We need concrete evidence. Elena had expected this resistance. Then let me provide it. She activated her personal data pad, and the room filled with new holographic displays. Star charts, colony expansion patterns, and trade route data from the past 2 centuries painted a picture that was both beautiful and terrifying. Look at our expansion pattern, Elena said, highlighting the data. Every human colony, every outpost, every trade route we've established follows a precise geometric pattern. We thought it was natural, the result of optimal resource distribution and strategic positioning, but it's not random, it's a design. The assembled leaders studied the data with growing unease. Commander Sarah Brooks, who had been silent until now, spoke up. The pattern resembles a neural network. Exactly, Elena confirmed. We're not just scattered colonies. We're nodes in a vast consciousness, connected by quantum entanglement fields that we've been interpreting as natural phenomena. Admiral Harrison's voice was barely a whisper. How long has this been going on? Since the beginning, Elena replied. Since humanity first looked up at the stars and wondered if we were alone. They've been with us every step of the way, guiding our development, protecting us from threats we never even knew existed. Dr. Chen brought up new data, his scientific excitement overriding his fear. We found evidence of their presence throughout human history, ancient texts describing angels and demons, folklore about spirits and guides, even modern reports of UFO sightings. They've been hiding in plain sight, taking forms that wouldn't terrify us. But why? General Stone demanded. What do they want from us? Elena took a deep breath. That's what we need to find out, and I believe I know how. She activated a new display showing a coordinate set in deep space, far beyond the traditional boundaries of human territory. 6 months ago, our deep space probes detected an anomaly in the Kepler 442 system, a structure that doesn't match any known stellar phenomena. I believe it's one of their installations, and I think it holds the answers we need. Admiral Harrison studied the coordinates with tactical eyes. That's 300 light-years from our nearest outpost. The journey alone would take weeks. The horizon is equipped for long-range exploration, Elena said. My crew is ready to make the journey. Absolutely not, General Stone interjected. We're talking about first contact with entities that could reshape reality. The security implications alone. General, Elena interrupted, her voice carrying the authority of someone who had faced the unknown and survived. They already know we know. The moment we discovered the truth on that Zalani ship, they knew. This isn't about security. This is about understanding. Commander Brooks nodded slowly. The captain's right. If these beings wanted to harm us, they've had millions of opportunities. The fact that we're still here suggests they have other intentions. Admiral Harrison was quiet for a long moment, weighing the risks against the potential rewards. Finally, she spoke. Captain Vasquez, you have authorization for a reconnaissance mission, but you won't go alone. I'm assigning a full diplomatic team and a military escort. Elena started to protest, but the Admiral held up a hand. Non-negotiable. If we're making first official contact with humanity's guardians, we're going to do it properly. 2 weeks later, a small fleet of ships departed from Earth Station Alpha. The Horizon led the way, followed by the diplomatic vessel Harmony and the military cruiser Defiance. Elena felt the familiar thrill of exploration, mixed with an entirely new emotion. The anticipation of finally meeting the beings who had shaped humanity's destiny from the shadows. The journey through hyperspace took 18 days, but Elena found herself oddly calm as they approached the Kepler 442 system. She spent her time reviewing everything they knew about the Guardians, piecing together clues from human history and alien testimonies. The picture that emerged was both humbling and inspiring. These beings had wandered the galaxy for eons, watching civilizations rise and fall, accumulating knowledge and wisdom beyond mortal comprehension. But somewhere in their long journey, they had become disillusioned with the endless cycle of creation and destruction, until they found a young species on a small blue planet, one that showed an unusual capacity for growth, creativity, and hope. "Captain," Lieutenant Torres called from the communications station, "we're receiving a transmission from an unknown source. It's on all frequencies simultaneously, and it's addressed specifically to you." Elena's heart raced. "Put it through." The voice that filled the bridge was like music made of starlight, ancient and eternal, yet somehow warm and familiar. "Elena Vasquez of Earth, child of Terra, daughter of hope. We have been waiting for you to find your way to us." Elena stood, feeling the weight of her species' future on her shoulders. "I'm here to learn, to understand what you are and what you want from humanity. We want nothing from you that you have not already freely given," the voice replied. "Your courage, your curiosity, your endless capacity to dream of better worlds. You have been our greatest teachers, and we, your silent students." The view screen flickered, and suddenly Elena was looking at something that defied description. A structure that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions at once, composed of materials that shifted between matter and energy. It was beautiful beyond words, and looking at it filled her with a sense of coming home. "Permission to come aboard?" Elena asked, feeling like a child requesting entry to a parent's workshop. "You have always been welcome here, Elena Vasquez. All humans have. Come and learn the truth of what you are." The boarding party consisted of Elena, Dr. Chen, Ambassador Maria Santos from the diplomatic vessel, and Colonel James Mitchell from the military escort. As their shuttle approached the impossible structure, Elena felt the same presence she had experienced on the Zelani ship, but stronger now, more welcoming. They docked at what appeared to be an airlock, though the mechanism seemed to operate on principles beyond their understanding. The moment they stepped inside, Elena gasped. The environment adjusted itself to their needs without any visible technology, providing breathable atmosphere and comfortable gravity. "Welcome to the archive," the voice said, and Elena realized it was coming from the structure itself. "Here, we have preserved the history of every species we have encountered, but none are as precious to us as the chronicles of humanity." They walked through corridors that showed them visions of human history played out in three-dimensional light. The first humans looking up at the stars, the development of language and art, the discovery of fire, the invention of writing. But interwoven with these familiar scenes were others, shadowy figures guiding lost travelers, whispered inspirations that led to great discoveries, protection from disasters that humanity never even knew threatened them. "You've been with us from the beginning," Elena breathed. "Before the beginning," the voice confirmed. "We sensed your potential when your species was still learning to use tools, the capacity for growth, for change, for hope in the face of impossible odds. It reminded us of what we had lost in our own long journey through the cosmos." Ambassador Santos stepped forward, her diplomatic training taking over. "What did you lose?" The corridor around them shifted, showing visions of ancient civilizations at the height of their power. Beings of incredible wisdom and technology, spread across thousands of worlds. But in each scene, there was something missing, a vitality, a spark that made existence meaningful. "Purpose," the voice said simply. "We had achieved everything we thought we wanted. Perfect knowledge, unlimited power, immortality. But we had forgotten what it meant to grow, to struggle, to hope for something better. We had become gods, but gods without worshippers, without the very thing that makes godhood meaningful." Dr. Chen was recording everything, his scientific mind racing to comprehend what they were being shown. "So you chose to protect humanity instead of ruling over us?" "We chose to learn from you," the voice corrected gently. "Every human achievement, every act of courage or kindness or creativity teaches us something we had forgotten. You have given us back our sense of wonder." Colonel Mitchell, who had been silent throughout the tour, finally spoke up. "What happens now? Now that we know about you?" The corridor opened into a vast chamber filled with floating displays showing star systems throughout the galaxy. Elena could see human colonies represented as points of HFY's golden light connected by threads of energy that pulsed like a heartbeat. The corridor opened into a vast chamber filled with floating displays showing star systems throughout the galaxy. Elena could see human colonies represented as points of golden light, connected by threads of energy that pulsed like a heartbeat. "Now, humanity takes its next step," the voice said. "For 2 centuries we have protected you while you learned to walk among the stars. But the galaxy is changing. Other species are evolving, growing more aggressive. Some have discovered ways to pierce our defenses." Elena felt a chill of fear. "Are we in danger?" "Not while we exist to protect you, but the time has come for humanity to understand its true role in the galaxy. You are not just another species struggling for survival. You are the teachers of hope, the carriers of dreams, the ones who will help other civilizations remember what they have forgotten." The displays around them shifted, showing scenes of potential futures. Humans working alongside alien species, sharing their unique perspective on existence. Human colonies becoming centers of learning and culture, drawing beings from across the galaxy who sought to rediscover their own capacity for growth and wonder. "This is what we have been preparing you for," the voice continued. "Not conquest, not dominance, but partnership. The galaxy needs what humanity has to offer, but it will not be easy. Many species fear change, fear hope, because it threatens their rigid hierarchies and ancient traditions." Elena looked around at her companions, seeing her own mixture of awe and determination reflected in their faces. "What do you need from us?" "Your consent," the voice said simply. "For too long, we have acted as your guardians without your knowledge. But the next phase requires active cooperation. We need humanity to know about us, to work with us openly, to help us guide other species toward the light you carry in you." Ambassador Santos stepped forward. "This decision cannot be made by a few individuals. Our entire species has the right to know about you and choose our own path." "Agreed," the voice said, and Elena could hear something like pride in its tone. "This is why we chose humanity. Even in the face of cosmic responsibility, you insist on democracy, on the right of every individual to have a voice in their own destiny." Elena felt tears running down her cheeks as the full magnitude of their situation became clear. Humanity wasn't just another species in the galaxy. They were the key to a future where growth and hope could flourish again, where ancient civilizations could rediscover their sense of wonder. "How do we begin?" she asked. "You return home," the voice said. "You share what you have learned. You give your species the choice to step forward into their true destiny or to remain as they are, protected but limited." The chamber around them began to fade, but not before Elena saw one final vision. Earth itself, but not as she had ever seen it before. The planet glowed with inner light, and she could see the forms of their guardians moving through the oceans, walking among the cities, present in every human gathering as shadows of wisdom and protection. "You will not be alone in this choice," the voice promised. "We will reveal ourselves gradually, carefully, so as not to cause panic. But the time of hiding is coming to an end." As they returned to their ships, Elena felt the weight of cosmic responsibility settling on her shoulders. But it was not a burden. It was an honor. Humanity had been chosen not because they were perfect, but because they retained something precious that older civilizations had lost: the ability to dream of better worlds and work to make those dreams reality. The journey home seemed shorter somehow, as if space itself was eager to see what humanity would choose. When Earth appeared on their view screens, Elena saw it with new eyes. not just as humanity's home, but as the sanctuary where cosmic guardians had chosen to make their stand for hope and growth in a galaxy that had forgotten how to dream. The galaxy had feared human space because it was protected by forces beyond their comprehension. Now, Elena realized, it was time for the galaxy to learn a different kind of fear. The fear of change, of growth, of a future where hope could flourish again under humanity's guidance and their guardians' ancient wisdom. The universe was about to discover what it truly meant when they said no species crosses the human border, not because humans were dangerous, but because they carried within them the power to transform everything they touched, protected, and guided by beings who had chosen them as the galaxy's greatest teachers. Elena smiled as Earth grew larger in the view screen. The real adventure was just beginning.